Well, before President Obama left for Kenya, he was keen to make his feelings known on European Union, with a firm message to Britain that it needs to stay put if it wants to continue to have influence on the world stage. But whether his views will have any effect on the forthcoming referendum on EU membership could be down to the campaigns that will be mounted by the rival camps. Behind the scenes in Westminster and beyond, politicians, business leaders and activists are all working hard on plans for launches this September. But what will those campaigns look like and who will lead them? Our political editor Gary Gibbon takes a look at how the No campaign is shaping up.
Sunday, before too long, we'll see the Prime Minister return from Brussels, his renegotiation complete, to announce a referendum on whether we stay in Europe.
You face a stark choice: an in-out referendum.
That statement could come as soon as this winter, next summer, and those who've longed for this moment are already organising. The campaign to stay in Europe reckons the campaign to come out is ahead of them on organisation, recruitment, fundraising. The outline of a No campaign is taking shape. MPs from Labour, the Conservative Party, UKIP's one MP, meeting with strategists just a few yards away from David Cameron's front door in the office of one of his former cabinet ministers.
This is the room where we meet.
Yeah, there could be a plaque on the wall if we leave Europe.
A lot is going on behind the scenes, and there is.
What do you do?
Well, there's definitely a nascent out campaign being formed.
Those who are thinking that this is going to be a walkover to stay in are going to get a big shock.
Downing Street's political radar should be sensing enemy activity on its borders. The No camp believes their cause is now boosted by the Eurozone crisis and the waves of migrants from the EU. There's a big vacancy right at the top of this organisation for a figurehead, the sort of role Alistair Darling performed for Better Together in the Scottish referendum. No strategists say they'd like that person to be from the centre-left, to tap into what they sense is a growing unease about the European project amongst trade unions, Labour supporters and activists. Do you think Labour MPs could find Labour Party activists actually breathing down their necks, trying to get them to swing to the no side?
I really do think that there will be a shift. I think a lot of MPs wait to a certain number of key people make changes to their views, and then they'll change. I mean, that's quite a reflection.
See where the wind's blowing.
Yes, and I think that's quite sad. But I think the pressure could come from ordinary party members.
Your current feel for it is that there could be around 100 Tory MPs who'd be on your side and outside.
Yeah. Well, hang on.
Amongst the membership, more than that.
Well, yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. You haven't begun to look at the associations. You haven't looked at the councillors. Now, I've had council leaders, chairmen of associations, really chasing, longing to help, longing to get going.
And they're going to be breathing down the necks of their MPs.
Yeah, of course they will, absolutely.
But the group meeting up here has a rival. The Electoral Commission's only going to recognise one body as the official campaign, giving it the right to spend millions in the immediate run-up to the referendum and to get government money for mail shots. Some business people are backing an alternative campaign that would be fronted by celebrities, sports people, giving politicians a wide berth.
Why do we feel this might not work?
They've hired this advertising agency to work on campaign ads targeted at people more detached from politics. You hear those involved in the Westminster operation mutter their business rivals are wasting their money. Some of them say your operation is, they've used the word naive to me, because you don't understand politics, and they do.
And that's a strength, because this is not about politics. This is about informing people and giving them the confidence that Britain can do so much better.
The UKIP leader Nigel Farage insists he's neutral on which group dominates the campaign. But you wonder.
If the No campaign is seen to be very broadly based, i.e. more than just one No campaign, but reaching different segments of our society, I think then it can win. If the No campaign is dominated by backbench members of Parliament from the existing two major parties, we'll lose.
That sounds a bit like the one that's forming over there, meeting every Wednesday.
Well, you know,
sounds an awful lot like it.
People can meet and do their own thing, but there is a certain arrogance within Westminster. There is a certain we know what's best, and actually the level of disenchantment with politics suggests they've got that wrong.
A senior figure in the Westminster No operation said he thought Nigel Farage's role in the referendum should be a bit like the one Tony Blair gave John Prescott years ago. sending him off on a bus to the strongholds he connects with, keeping him away from the centre of the action.
There are MPs who say Nigel Farage shouldn't be too prominent in the No campaign. He's probably reached the outer limits of his popularity. If we put him out there anymore, it'll start turning voters against.
Well, there are a lot of small-minded Westminster politicians who understand little of British politics and
they're wrong,
and hugely underestimate the achievement of UKIP. You know, we've come from nowhere, to a general election where 4 million voted for us and 2 million nearly did vote for us.
So you should be at the front of this.
Well, I mean, I think the UKIP,
maybe the figurehead.
I think the UKIP message can bring 60% of the votes that are needed for us to win a referendum.
Look at the maths. If turnout is what it was in Scotland, you're going to need a great many votes from people who didn't vote for centre-right parties at the last election. You're going to need support from people particularly on the centre-left. And I think that's a really key thing for us to focus on.
David Cameron's team is breathing down the neck of Tory donors, telling them the boss really wouldn't appreciate it if you splash out money on his political enemies in the No camp. The No camp's confident it won't repeat the problems of 1975 when it was massively outspent by the other side. The In camp, it says, will pick up the big bosses in the corporations. The outside will pick up the self-made business people. It doesn't matter if the other side have got the FTSE 100, the big names.
With the greatest respect to them, there is a big difference between a manager who has climbed the greasy corporate pole and an entrepreneur of a small or medium-sized business, who has laboured hard, who's watched their cash flows nightly.
But the public might know the brand names that the Yes side have got on their side. They might even recognise some of the big-name business people.
They might do, but I don't think the public actually want to be scared or frightened by big business.
Which is why I'm voting yes.
The No campaign wants to replicate the catchy ads deployed against Britain joining the euro a decade ago, a million miles from dry discussions about sovereignty.
Euros? No, I prefer Buffy fluff.
While the tourists lay claim to Westminster, both the In and Out campaigns are toiling behind the scenes through the summer for big launches in September, just ahead of the party conferences.